Hey church, Pastor Matt here. I hope that you are well today. I am recording this video at home, and so if you hear a crying baby in the background, well, that would be M. And consequently, if you hear a crying mom in the background, that would be Meg. I hope you're doing well once again. I want to touch base with you. A few weeks ago, I sent out a video to kind of talk about reopening and what reopening would look like at Madison Street. And this is a follow-up video to come back to that conversation and pick up where we were at. And so I appreciate you watching it and taking the time to think through these things with me and with our leadership. We are planning, as of right now, to reopen on June the 14th. So that is, from where we're sitting right now, that's next Sunday. So June 14th, to get back together on our campus for a worship service on a Sunday morning. We're talking about getting together at 11 a.m. This will not include Sunday school. We'll still continue to do Sunday school through the online avenue, as well as I know some groups are using their phones. But we'll have one worship gathering that you can come, that you can attend on our campus beginning at 11 a.m. Now, the last video, we talked about a lot of things that are going to be involved with that, and I want to touch base on those again. And just want to invite you into the thought process, invite you into the things that I have prayed about, considered, thought through, the things I've talked with some of our leaders and staff about when it comes to reopening. And when it comes to reopening, there are kind of these two things that we have to kind of think about. And one of them being safety, and then one of them being comfort. Nobody wants to catch the coronavirus, right? We're in a pandemic in our country, and this thing has caused a lot of harm, and it's caused a lot of fear, and nobody wants to catch it. And we certainly don't want anyone to catch it on our campus when we're gathering. And so you begin to think about, how can we make it safe? What are the things that we can do to ensure that people will be safe on our campus, and we can eliminate, to the best of our ability, any opportunities for the coronavirus to spread. But of course, as you start thinking through these guidelines to keep things safe, what happens is we begin to say, well, this is not necessarily comfortable, right? To not do the things we used to do, or to have some new guidelines, to have some new ways of doing things. The safety begins to get in the way, so to speak, of our comfort. And so then you start to think through the other route. We'll say, well, maybe we should not have these guidelines and loosen these restrictions so that people will be comfortable. But then if you do that, we say, well, now it's not safe. And we go, okay, well, maybe we should add some guidelines. And you start bouncing back and forth. And I have done the bouncing back and forth game for a long time. Some of our leaders, as we've talked about these things, we've done the same thing. And it really comes down to answering this question: are we going to be safe at the expense of comfort, or are we going to be comfortable at the expense of safety? And as we've talked about it and prayed about it, we continue to say we would rather be on the side of safety rather than being on the side of comfort at the expense of safety. There's a reality that this virus is real, and it's dangerous, and it's a threat. And we want people to be safe on our campus. There was a report a few weeks ago, and I'll attach this article in the email that I send out. There's a church in South Carolina that opened, and they were doing some good things with their reopening. But come to find out, they had a worship gathering. A few days later, somebody who was in attendance was tested and found positive for having the coronavirus. And the pastor then had to contact everyone who was in attendance at the worship gathering and say, hey, you've been exposed to it and you need to self-quarantine. And unfortunately, that kind of got out into the community, and it created some issues within the community. There's some people in the community who were upset with this church because they had started meeting, and I think one of the, if I understand correctly, they were when it comes to mask, they were encouraging people to wear a mask, not requiring them, and I think some of the people weren't doing it, and that was one of the issues that was created. So this church had to self-quarantine. They had to shut down everything. We don't want that to happen here. And I was in a conversation with Lex Bowen and some of our area pastors, Sarepta pastors, just thinking through this together. And Lex posed a question to us. He said, if you decide to really land on the side of comfort, not really require certain guidelines, and open the avenue, just open the possibility or the opportunity for the coronavirus to spread. He said, as a pastor, are you ready to potentially have to preach a funeral because of that? Now, we would hope that wouldn't happen, right? We would hope that that even if something was to happen, that it wouldn't come to that great of an extent. But the reality is, this thing is dangerous. There are people who are vulnerable, and we want to do everything we can to ensure that when we meet, you will be safe, and that when you go home, you will feel that you've had a safe experience, an enjoyable experience. And even if that means we have to sacrifice our comfort for a little bit, that we would be a people who would humble ourselves for the safety and well-being of those around us. So, real quick, on June 14th, we are planning to meet on our campus. We've talked about some of these guidelines in the previous video, but let me go through some of them again with you. First, we will begin this reopening process by meeting in our fellowship hall, because the fellowship hall opens the opportunity for us to socially distance a little easier. We can maneuver chairs in certain places. Plus, it's going to be an easier way to sanitize the chairs in the fellowship hall rather than the pews in the sanctuary, because the pews have cloth on them and it's a little bit harder to clean and sanitize. So the fellowship hall, we feel, is going to give us the greatest space to meet, that we can have families in certain spots, and also we won't be quite as spread out all over the place. We can kind of still have a more close proximity, but still practicing social distancing. So we will do that. When you come to our campus, if you come, we are asking that everyone wear a mask. If you have one, we would ask that you would bring your own. If you don't have one, we have some available that we can give you. And now on this particular topic, let me make sure that we are all on the same page. When it comes to wearing the mask, it's important that we understand that we don't wear a mask so that we can be protected from other people. The purpose of wearing the mask is to protect other people from us, right? The reason I will be wearing a mask is because I love you. I love everyone there, and I want to protect everyone there from me, right? That's the whole goal. That's the whole reason that we're wearing the mask. Not for our protection, but for the protection and the safety and well-being of those around us. And wearing a mask, let's just be honest, it is a little uncomfortable. It absolutely is. It will be very uncomfortable to preach a sermon with a mask on. But once again, we're willing to have our comfort infringed upon for the safety and well-being of those around us. I am also going to include in the email that I send an article that is written by Braddy. And I would highly encourage everyone to read it. In fact, I would ask that you read it. The article is called Why I'm Wearing a Mask. And he goes over 7 or 8 reasons why he is going to be wearing a mask when his church gathers again. And it's a really helpful article. I think it really does a great job of emphasizing the humility that we're wanting to show those around us, that we're willing to humble ourselves. We're willing to be uncomfortable because we love people. He talks in the article about how I'm going to wear a mask because there are people who are vulnerable and I want to protect them from myself, right? He talks about I'm going to wear the mask because I'm willing to humble myself the way Jesus humbled himself. And of course, Jesus humbled himself in a far greater way than wearing a mask. He humbled himself to the point of death on the cross. That's Philippians 2, of course. But here's the reality: wearing a mask is a visible way of showing everyone around you that you are sacrificially loving and serving them. And so this is a great way for us to practice Galatians 5. I believe verse 13, where Paul says, you've been called to freedom, brothers, only use that freedom, he goes on to say, through love to serve one another. This is a way that we can love and serve one another, using our Christian freedom to be humble and to actually be a little uncomfortable. And I'm willing to be uncomfortable because I love those around me. So once again, just make sure we're on the same page, that the reason we wear the mask is for the safety and well-being of those around us. So we are asking that you would do that. Anybody who comes to do that, once again, there'll be an article I'll post that talks about that a little bit more. We're going to utilize screens for things like lyrics. We are planning to sing because we're wearing the mask, and because we're socially distancing, we're planning to do music. And we won't have hymnals or bulletins. We'll just have words on the screen like we do in the sanctuary. And I will be emailing out the sermon listening guide. I do a listening guide just about every week, and I'll email those out on Saturday. And if you want to bring one with you, you can. Whether you have a printer at home, or if you have a smartphone or an iPad or something like that. If you're one who likes to use the notes, you could do it that route. But we'll use a screen as far as ways to relay information, lyrics, like I say, announcements, the sermon information. And then when we finish, we'll dismiss by rows, and we'll be able to talk to one another from a distance. But one of the things we're going to try to do at these services is to have a higher emphasis on prayer and pray together as a church. So I'm really looking forward to getting together and just singing some, reading and studying God's Word, praying together as a church family, and just looking forward to getting back together. I really am really excited. We are asking for anyone who is planning to come to just give the church office a phone call during the week. And I'll put the number up right here in front of you in this video. But give the church office a call and touch base with Sue. If she's not there, just leave a message. Or if she is there, talk to her. Just let us know that you're coming, and let us know who's coming with you. So if you're a family, I'm coming, and my son, my daughter, whoever, they're coming with me, husband, wife. So this is just so that we have a head count, and we can make sure we've got the proper preparations ready for Sunday morning when you get there. So just call the church office anytime. The earlier the better for us. If you start calling on Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, By Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're going to try to have the room set up, have things ready. If you don't call the church office and you show up, it's not like we're going to tell you to go home. We'll make a space for you. But that would help us out as we get prepared and ready to launch into this service. So give the church office a call. Let Sue know. Or if she doesn't answer, leave a message, and we can be better prepared to serve you when you show up. A few other items. We will continue doing the online worship service that I send out every Saturday. Once again, I want to thank Sarah Ingram for her hard work. She's doing a great job with that. We'll continue to do that through this season. We know that there are some people in our church family who are still wanting to exercise caution and concern, and we support that. We understand it. And so we'll continue sending out those videos. And so you can stay in touch. I'll be doing the exact same sermon on the videos that I do in the on-campus worship. So it's not like we're going to do two different things. We'll all stay on the same page. But just want you to know that will still be an option that's available. I also want you to know that we are continuing to monitor the situation. And if there is a new wave that comes in, or if it becomes something where our governor announces, hey, we're going to extend the shelter in place, or we're going to do there's new cautions or stuff like that, we will talk about it as a staff, and we still have the opportunity to postpone this and just go strictly back to our online stuff. But if that was to happen and we were to decide, hey, we're going to cancel the on-campus service, I'll shoot out an email and let you know the reason why, and let you know that's happening. But once again, I'm really excited about this. I do understand that we're in new territory. None of us have ever walked through anything like this, and it is difficult. I certainly appreciate all of your prayers. Our staff appreciates all of your prayers. We appreciate your willingness to work together, to put unity above all things. Certainly look forward to getting back going. It has been a really unique season for me personally, because Sunday mornings are sometimes kind of hectic, and kind of things are going on, and I've been able to sing with my daughter, and she loves to sing. Ollie is going to be the rock star of our family, or she's at least going to want all of your attention. But she likes to sing. It's been really cool on Sundays to hang out with her and sing and enjoy Jesus. But we miss the church family. And there's a reason why we miss it. Jesus has brought us into a new family. And he's called us to be people who gather together, to enjoy him together. And so I'm really excited to get back together. I think Jesus is going to really bless this time on our campus. I pray that it is fruitful. I pray that it is a safe time of worship and of praise of our King. And I look forward to seeing what he does through it. And so I look forward to seeing everyone who comes. Once again, let us know. Give us a phone call. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday, June 14th at 11 a.m. for our first reopening worship service on campus together. I hope you have a good weekend, and we'll talk with you soon. God bless.